Hello, this is the Mega Bloks Star Trek Buildable Transporter Room set. I think you have to be a pretty serious fan of the original Star Trek series to fully comprehend just the significance of what you're looking at here, because this is not intended to be the transporter room of the original USS Enterprise. This is the transporter room of the ISS Enterprise. This is all based on the mirror universe, and specifically the Mirror Mirror episode where Spock in the alternate universe had a beard, and this was the ISS Enterprise, which has the Terran Empire insignias back on the back walls there, and Kirk had a different garb and everything, so everything was different. This is not your standard universe stuff that was featured most of the time. I like the build and the arrangement of the floor here, and they've got the independent pads, and it's arranged very nicely. And I especially like the computer control panel setup over here, because looking at especially the top pieces, the top printed pieces, the smaller ones, and these are all printed, no stickers involved here, but these ones in particular just really brought back a lot of nostalgia for me of watching Star Trek, the original series, on TV in the 80s. I think originally even on a black and white TV. These lower ones, not quite so much for me, here a little bit, but mostly those top ones just really grabbed me quite a lot. And then this is also a print over here which shows space, and that's pretty nice, although I wish it was inset rather than actually being a tile on top of the wall there. Now, I apologize in advance for mixing together different sci-fi here, but there is more than meets the eye to this display. The entire thing can be folded out, and now it becomes a wide kind of a shelf display piece for putting your collectible figures up. It's just, I think, a better shape for display purposes, and you can remove this center part right here. You can still use that off to the side, but it's mostly just to make it so that this has a lot less depth to it. And then you can turn this panel around, and you can display a handful of figures like that, and also put some others off to the side and put some others in between as well, because they do include with each of these sets a nice golden version of this round pad. So as you get more figures, you can display them in between. Now, you're not forced to keep the Terran Empire logos up there. If you want to turn this into a regular Prime Universe USS Enterprise transporter room, they do include these two extra panels with just the regular design, so you can swap those out. So that's a nice little option they give you if you don't want to stick to the more specific, and more obscure version. These panels are all also printed and not stickers, and they are translucent, so they let a good amount of light through, so you can see just you can see some of my fingers showing through just a little bit. So what you see here that appears to be kind of a glow effect is real. So if you have any light behind there, it really does light up. And if you put this onto a shelf, obviously you're going to have a shaded area behind here, but if you have any kind of light bar that you set up, then it'll really glow and it'll look really good. The whole thing is not intended to look good from the back though, and as part of that, when you close it up like this into its normal form, it's kind of like looking around the back of a TV set. It has its camera friendly angle, and then all the other angles are not so much so. I guess it doesn't look that bad just with the shaping and level of texture here, but it's really not designed at all to be looked at from these angles. So even if you just have it set up like this, where you're looking at it from the side, you're looking through walls back here. I don't know what they could have done to improve upon that without adding in a whole lot of extra detail of trying to build up other parts of the ship. But I just did want to point out that while it does look good like this or like this, if you have it set up to display where you're going to see it from this angle frequently, then that's not so good. Here's a closer look at the figures with the Mirror Universe bearded Spock and Mirror Universe golden garb sleeveless Kirk there. And then there's Scotty, who is in the process of either being dematerialized or being materialized. And they got that effect by just using the clear resins that they usually use for transparent characters who are in some kind of futuristic active camo or stealth mode. And then they dry brush some gold on top of that to give it a little bit of metallic sparkle and to make it look you know, like it's partially there. These are pretty well done. I think that the molds are excellent, especially for Captain Kirk in the middle, although it doesn't have great definition with the slight translucency of the material there. You know, it lets a little bit of light actually in. I think a little bit too much. And I think that's the case also with Spock over on the left. I think that if the material was a little bit more opaque, you get a little bit better definition, a little bit more shadowing, especially around the eyes and the lines around the sides of the nose. It's not too bad, but especially with the choice to go with the holes for eyes, which are always lined up properly, but don't give you a whole lot of personality shining through. You know, it's just a little bit on the downside with the believability, I think. These are a few of the accessories included. Beyond these, there's just one other additional handheld phaser that's included, which is exactly the same as the one that Kirk has right now, and then you've got just two small daggers. This dagger here actually does not have the gold dry brushing effect on it. It's just plain clear, but that's perfectly fine. The sashes are done in kind of a pearl gold color, and they are in a silicone rubber, so they are very flexible, so you can move them, you know, side to side. There's a little bit of an extension on the hip of the figures that makes it sometimes a little bit tough to get the sash to vertically align just where you want, but it will go there. And these are the fully articulated figures, so they've got ball joints for the necks and also for the hips, you know, where the thighs attach, and then all kinds of different things you can do for posing them up. Interesting set. If you're a big fan of the original series, this definitely has some very nice collectible value to it, especially with those Terran Empire panels, the wall panels, and then the selection of figures here. The transporter room on itself, I think, makes for a nice display piece. I think it's mostly going to be good for folks who are going to get a bunch of figures and want to display them together. Because of the subject matter, I don't see this being a major draw for kids, and you know, the play value probably doesn't matter all that much, but all the things that would be useful for play in terms of being able to rotate the computer panel around and articulate the figures in different ways will mostly be useful for collectors who are going to want to pose things how they want. Let me know what you think about the set on the whole, about the setting of it with the whole choice to go with the obscure mirror universe, and what you think of the selection of figures here. Thank you for watching. I hope I showed you everything you wanted to see about this set, and I hope to have a chance to talk to you again very soon in the next video. Catch you later.